Today's guest is Jonas from Scandinavia. No, not that Jonas. We actually have a Danish Jonas here today.
I used to live in Hong Kong for 10 years, and my background is in photography. I just came here like very randomly. For me, it was like I had like one of those weeks where you just need to get away from Hong Kong. And I looked at the map and I'm like, I've never been to Taiwan, so why not go to Taiwan? Booked a flight. And then as soon as I arrived here, I'm like, this is better than Hong Kong. And then I ended up coming back all the time and then eventually moved.
Wow.
So,
can we say that on camera? Taiwan is officially better than Hong Kong.
Oh, 100%. I mean, this is 15 years ago. I mean, I know it's gone down since, but it has, right? I mean, the problem is when you live there, you don't see it. When you're walking on the street, you're walking, in a line. There's no space to move. It's completely overcrowded, especially on the weekends. The pollution just got worse and worse and worse. Like even I remember at the end, I was out because I love hiking. So I tried to get out almost every day for a hike. But at the end, you could smell the pollution on your tongue. You could taste it. This can't be good for me. So I'm like, okay, that's another driver for coming to Taiwan, right?
I still feel like it's quite big of a step visiting quite regularly and still making like the actual decision to move to Taiwan. What made you go like, you know what, now we move to Taiwan?
There were many things, just the environment of Hong Kong at the time, right? Also interesting, like I was only here for a week the first time, but the friends I met during that week, and those friends after I went back to Hong Kong, they'd be like calling me, Jonas, when are you coming back? We miss you in Taiwan. It's like no one in Hong Kong has never said that to me. If you go to a new place, everything just works out for you. The flight is uneventful. The immigration officer is just great, and approaches you with a smile. The weather is good. First day in a country where if you get all these experiences, for some reason it's like your brain just connects to that place, and then you just want to come back. It feels more like home in a way.
Do you have any more like comparisons between like living in Hong Kong and like living in Taiwan?
In Taiwan, you can see two girls having a conversation with each other, and you can see that they're deep into this conversation. Someone is listening and someone is communicating, right? In Hong Kong, you didn't see that on that level. It was always like this very artificial level that people communicated. What are we gonna have for dinner? And where are we gonna go traveling? It's like it felt like that was the only things people talked about. In terms of my own value set, I think I just connected a lot more with Taiwan. It's hard to explain, but there was just that feeling of like this is more home.
Being a photographer in Hong Kong and moving to Taiwan, I think we can all make the assumption that we believe that you are a photographer here in Taiwan as well. But that is not necessarily the case, because what are you doing here in Taiwan?
So I came here and then I started as a freelance photographer, built my studio, and then I ended up doing that for a lot of good big clients. And then I got into coffee because I always felt like my work was not really being judged fairly. Like you could have some guy's work that was just complete shit. Like looking at it from a professional point of view, and then I could have my picture, which was professional. It became to the point where I had to have a very big fancy studio. I had to have, Gucci, Prada, LV, Dior hanging on the wall. And then I started I served good coffee for them. So I got a fancy espresso machine. I made, good lattes with some latte art on the top.
So they came for the coffee, not for your photo
skills. Yeah, so they
skills.
also came for the coffee. But it's like the whole package, right? And then I got into coffee that way. I started working for a guy. I basically gave him a lot of ideas for what kind of new products that he could create for he was in the coffee accessory business. And I gave him other ideas on what kind of products he could make, but he didn't want to do it. One of the ideas that I gave him was to make a better kind of coffee roaster. I started to self-study engineering, product design, manufacturing. And then, I developed the machine myself. And now we have a company that is manufacturing these machines and selling them all over the world.
Like you make it sound so simple, and then I just created a coffee roasting machine that like no one had ever seen before.
I mean, it's like 70, 80-hour weeks, right? You're just working all the time. I lived in the worst apartment in Zhongshan. There was cockroaches on the floor every night. There was mosquitoes. It was so bad, I didn't even want to work there. So I brought my laptop to a cafe every morning, and I worked there the whole day, went back around 11, slept. The toilet and shower was out on the balcony with a bottle of gas for the hot water. After 2 months, the gas ran out, and I didn't even bother to get a new one. So I was cold showering for like 2 years in terms of purpose, right? That I had something to do. I had something that I wanted to work on. And that's just what kept me going. If a photographer can study and develop product in terms of engineering, then then basically anything is possible.
And if a YouTuber can start some 3D printing and laser engraving business,
then anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
Anything is definitely possible, especially with a lot of hard work, but even more so if you're also using the best tools for the job. For example, this heavy-duty workbench, which was made and given to me by the Taiwanese company Tanko. This workbench has made it so much easier for me to run my 3D printing business and made it possible for me to focus on growing my business instead of worrying about the actual production process. For example, this heavy-duty workbench can hold up to 2,000 kilos, and this is also the most stable table you can possibly imagine, which is super important for a 3D printing business such as the Taiwan shop. The printers will vibrate a lot during the actual printing process, but as you can see, the rest of the table and the rest of the printers on the same table do not. So all 3 printers can print with 100% quality, which of course is what we all expect at the Taiwan shop.tw. In addition to this, all these tables and workstations are also super customizable. I decided to add these drawers, which can hold up to 50 kilos each per drawer. On the back here behind these printers, we also have the perforated backboard, which I then have added another 3D printed board on top. But if you don't have your own 3D printer, you can just get this perforated backboard and then get all your possible accessories straight from Tanko as well. This heavy-duty workbench also comes with integrated power outlets, so you can just plug in everything you could possibly need straight into the table, which is absolutely amazing. It's super convenient and it's also so much safer, so I don't need to have any cables on the floor running around across this entire room and just being in my way here in the studio. And here at the top we also have a shelf with a maximum capacity of 50 kilos. Right now I do have around 20 kilos of both machines and filaments for my 3D prints, and of course everything is super stable, even if I have 3 machines running at the same time. And if you want to know more about this specific workbench or all the other products Tanko has to offer, you of course have a link down in the description as well as a link to the Taiwan shop.tw, which again is all made possible thanks to Tanko. But before we head over to place your order, let's head back to the video and continue the chat with Jonas.
These kind of things, like setting up a business, people say it's so hard to do in Taiwan. But like, why is it difficult? Seriously, you Google a CPA, you find an accountant, and then you go and sign a bunch of papers. That's not hard. I mean, honestly, what are you actually... You don't even have to use your brain except coming up with a name. And I mean, we have companies now in Denmark, US, El Salvador, Panama, Singapore. It's the same story every time. If people think, oh my God, it's all in Chinese. And this is what I love about Taiwan, because I feel like you very seldom would get cheated. The justice system here, you would get a fair trial or you would get a fair treatment if something really happened in Taiwan.
You're working in like manufacturing, so I assume there's a lot of like moving parts, not only like in the actual coffee roasters,
sure,
but like you have suppliers, you have like a lot of like materials inspections and stuff, and I assume that there's like a lot of other like external contacts, like part of your whole like network.
Sure. Yeah, a lot.
How does that work as like a foreigner? That you cannot say like you just pay someone and sign a bunch of papers. There's a lot more active work going into that, I think.
Unfortunately, this is where I think China is doing a great job, because they make the access to these factories so easy compared to Taiwan. Like if you want to find good vendors here, don't even have a website, right? Some of them don't even have an email. And you have to start one place, but I think it's much more about the relationship. So what I did, my first staff, I met her online on a dating app. And I was not on these dating apps for dating. I was just there to make sure that I didn't go completely crazy. Because if you are working like 60 hours, 70 hours per week, I knew that I had to talk to someone. Sometimes just match with someone and say, hey, why don't we meet at this cafe, you know? The purpose was just to have a conversation, because I didn't want to feel lonely, because that is very bad for your mental health. Anyway, I ended up hiring her. She was so good at finding these factories and talking to them and saying, hey, you know, I got this foreigner, he's trying to build this product. But in the beginning, it's super hard because you have no references, right? But she was able to convince some incredible factories to help me start this project, get the relationship going. And they were then able to refer me to different factories for different parts, like almost 100 different vendors providing different parts to build one machine. It is hard. It is about finding the right people, building the relationship with those vendors.
Do you have any kind of like, maybe more like generic business/entrepreneurship advice for like foreigners specifically who are thinking about coming to Taiwan to start up a company?
I think Taiwan particularly is very good at making products. If I made something in China, I would be worried that they would just copy my idea. In Taiwan, I never had this worry. Maybe even a combination of hardware and software, which I believe to be even better than just having a software or hardware company. If you can combine those two things, then you have something truly unique. And that's also what I'm trying to do. You got everything right. I mean, if you go to Xinjiang or Sanchong, you could build your whole product over there.
That's like one of the things that I just love about like Taiwan. I ran out of like packaging materials like boxes and everything, and then you just need to find that like one street that sells like boxes and shipping supplies. They have everything in one specific spot. A few more questions about like your company specifically. Do you hate coffee? So you said like, you know what, coffee tastes like shit, I need to come up with a better solution. Or do you love coffee and you just want to be part of it?
I've never pretended to be like an expert in the coffee field. I just make the machines. If their dream can come true with my machine, then I'm happy. I'm more on the idea side now and the business development and even new product development. Of course, that's still coming from me. I never became like a coffee snob that I can only drink, certain fine coffees. No. So what we have is a roaster that you can plug in to your standard 110 or 220 volt socket and you can roast a full kilo. It's just super efficient. Now you can basically automate everything and you can connect it to a computer. You can record your data. App called roast.world. You can share your recipes and you can get other people's recipes, and it's a whole community of 10,000 people now. Basically, you can go and find a similar coffee and then download that recipe and then get started.
Let's just assume here for someone who has no experience with like coffee roasting, I thought basically it's just like you used control the temperature and like the time.
It's like a temperature profile, and then you want to reach the right temperatures at the right time. It's always going to be rising, but how quick it rises at different times changes the flavor profile of the coffee. Some coffees are more fragile, so you need to have a little bit longer roast. Other ones are more like hard beans, so you can apply more heat in the beginning, like Kenya coffee. Interesting about coffee is that, let's say after 7-8 minutes, they start to crack. So first crack, afterwards, and the temperature increase is super important for the flavor development. You can then change how the coffee tastes. So it's about accuracy, right? So that's also what we try to do, develop sensors and stuff.
How does Taiwan coffee drinking, like in general, compare to like, let's just put it together now in like Scandinavian coffee culture?
Ooh. Denmark has the highest price for coffee in Europe. So you just want to sit down and chill for 20 minutes, it's very, very expensive. Either they use the wrong milk or it's just like there's no flavor in it. In Taiwan, you can always find good coffee. Like you can find the great coffee for 80 NT, you can find the great one for 150. In Denmark, it's the same price and it goes from pretty bad to, worse. Yeah, exactly.
I can't really taste a difference.
I'll invite you to my office, serve you something. Because in the beginning, when I started roasting on my prototype, I'm like, okay, I need to learn at least the basics of coffee, right? Otherwise, how can I say that it's a good machine? So I went
wait. Didn't even know the basics of coffee when you started the project to make the machine.
No, I just wanted to roast coffee. Buy some coffee and see how quick can it roast.
What?
Yeah.
But wait a minute. Why a coffee roaster and not something else that you would be like, maybe why not like something like camera related if you're a photographer?
Well, I wanted to buy that machine, but I couldn't find it. That's why I developed it. But when I developed it, I didn't know if it's good or bad, right? If I throw in 1 kilo of coffee, how much time does it take before it's finished? And then once you get that sorted, then you can then start tasting different coffees and looking at the flavors. We're pretty lucky that it works so well as it does. I'm like, okay, I need to try some very good professionally brewed coffee. So I went to these coffee houses and in the beginning, I couldn't taste anything. It felt like it was so light and so watery that I felt like, why are they using so few beans? Because I didn't have the palate to understand it. Because if it's too expensive and it's too delicate, you can't taste it.
Thank you.
So you need like the Shiraz coffee so that you can, oh, it tastes like, And that's what I can brew that in my office.
Okay, so you have to explain it to me as well. Because like this is exactly the experience that I feel as well. The more I pay for coffee, the less it tastes. Like what's the point?
Let me give you that experience so that you can actually start to appreciate it a little bit.
In Sweden, we would have like these like cafes or like coffee houses that would be like the Swedish version of a Starbucks basically. Here in Taiwan, I feel like there's maybe even more individual coffee places, but like much smaller. Which style do you prefer?
I prefer the small local shop, 100%. I mean, first of all, Starbucks is the quality of the coffee has never been good. One thing I think they do very well though is the experience. And that's what I'm missing from many of the smaller shops, because people here, they used to be more talkative and a little bit more friendly and more like willing to introduce, what they're doing, and a little bit more bubbly and energetic. Now, oftentimes, if you go into these smaller shops, they would just look away, and then they would like hand you the menu and say like, what do you want? Instead of getting the experience, like, get a little bit of eye contact. You say, good morning, how's your day? You want to feel like you belong somewhere. And that's what Starbucks does so well. Many of those new shops, they are missing that element. So I'll pick the one where the people are a little bit bubbly and friendly and can feel like they have just a slight amount of passion for what they do. Starbucks was so successful because they did that. That's why they write your name on the cup, is to have the connection with the customer. So if you copy that element, you would probably be more successful in your business as well.
My last question, not coffee related now. If some foreigners are watching this video, do you have any like tips or advice for them before coming here?
You have to enjoy that the culture is different and that everything works in a different way. Just come with an open mind and get out in nature, because I think that's what Taiwan really has to offer. I mean, if you go on a hike around Taipei, you can see that it's a basin, right? And the whole city is just surrounded by mountains. Even though you're in the big city, you can escape in 20 minutes. Get a little U-bike, right? And you go up, just go north, you hit a mountain, you park it, and you go for a hike. I think that's very, very special about this place.
Do you have any like favorite spots?
I used to go on these small road trips. For the past 3 years, I've been so busy that I haven't done that. So I'm also looking for my next favorite spot.
When I get a car next year, let me take you on a coffee road trip here in Taiwan.
Yeah,
maybe
absolutely.
we should do like a Scandinavian Taiwan road trip Huandao,
Yeah.
finding like the best coffee in
That's a good
Taiwan.
idea, yeah. If you have some amazing coffee places that you think we should visit or give a try, that would also be very interesting as well.
And maybe you are a coffee place yourself. Please, of course, reach out to Jonas. You have all the possible information down in the description below. We also have a special message from the sponsor of today's video, the Taiwan Shop.tw, as a thank you for coming here and
Thank you so much.
attending this little chat with us here today.
Very nice.
And of course, if you want your own Taiwanese souvenirs and products, you can of course also visit the Taiwan Shop.tw down in the description as well. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Lukas. Starts with L as in like, ends with S as in subscribe. Please do both, and see you all in the next one.
Thank you.